Welcome to the Psychology Club podcast, brought to you by Vicente Martinez High School.
Hello. First of all, okay. Welcome to Psychology Club podcast. I'm Elizabeth, the host. Today we are interviewing Derick from Erika's Lighthouse. So welcome to our podcast. So the first question I have is, could you tell us a bit of Erika's Lighthouse and the mission, like what inspired the organization to start?
Erika's Lighthouse is a nonprofit organization with a mission to provide free mental health resources and programming to any school, anywhere. That programming comes in the form of classroom education, staff training, family resources, and then also clubs and club support for school clubs like yours. How did it start is really about 20 years ago. There was a girl named Erika, and she died by suicide because of her depression. And some people in her community, including her parents, came together. It was the second suicide in that community that school year, and they said like we need to be supporting the children. We need to let them know it's okay to seek help when they're struggling, and we need to do what we can so that this isn't something that's common and taking place all the time. At first, it was, a more community effort to support that in a local area. And over 20 years, it's grown now to the point where there are Erika's Lighthouse clubs across the country. There's schools using our classroom curriculum across the country, our staff training, etc., and even in some other countries as well, which is really cool.
Hi, my name is Diego, and a question I have are, what are some of the main challenges you see students facing when it comes to mental health, especially in high school?
The biggest challenge I think that, in my personal opinion, is that a lot of students just don't know how or where or if it's okay to seek help. Right. So they might realize that they're struggling, but they don't know if it's okay to talk to person A, or they might know that they should be looking for help, but they don't even have the beginning idea where to go. I know that when I was in high school 10 long years ago, I didn't even know where the counselor's office was in the school, if that's somewhere that I wanted to go. So just making sure everyone's aware of where the resources are, but then also who the adults that would, stand up for them and champion for them, who those people are, right? So just making sure that they know who they can go to and where those resources are.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie, and why do you think it's important to have mental health education in schools, and what roles do peers and campus mental health clubs play in this?
Yeah, so I think that these programs are just really important because Erica's Lighthouse programming is all tier one. And what I mean by that is it's for everybody, right? And it's because everybody has mental health the same way that like everybody has dental health. And we all brush our teeth every day to prevent cavities or something like that. We should all be doing things every day to, take care of our mental health and make sure it stays well. In general, I would say that schools have their, I call it, tier three is what it's called, programs in place where if there's some crisis they know how to respond. And then generally schools have pretty good tier two systems where they know the students who have 504, or they know the students who have some history with anxiety or depression, and to check in on them, and the counselor knows that. But for the general everyone population, schools might not always have the resources to make sure everyone knows how to seek help when they need it, or find those resources. So I think that's where we really help out. Like the Erika Lighthouse programming helps with that tier one aspect for everyone.
Hello, Josh here. Let's see. What types of programs and resources does Erika Lighthouse offer to schools and students?
Awesome. Yeah. So the first, our biggest program is the classroom education. So we have that in three levels, level one, level two, and level three. Level one is like mainly for like upper elementary. Level two is mainly for like middle school. Level three is mainly for high school. And these are about a week long lessons, a unit on mental health. And it's about help seeking, how to be a good trusted peer. If a friend comes to you telling you something concerning, how to identify trusted adults adults and who the people in your life that should be able to help get you to the next steps are, and things like this. At the higher level, the level 3, like the high school, it talks about, depression and suicide prevention and these things as well. Whereas on like the lower levels, like the elementary, it's mainly just focusing on like everyday feelings versus overwhelming feelings, and we should seek help when we're having those overwhelming feelings. So that's the first program. The second would be staff training. That's so that all the teachers in a school building can go through a sort of PD, that's professional development, where they understand how to be a good trusted adult, and how to recognize signs and symptoms, and how to best look out for the children, make sure everyone's on the same page. Then we have the family resources. We have both like workshops and workbooks and things like that, so that families who want to talk to their kids about mental health, but maybe they grew up in a time where it was way too stigmatized, so they never learned how to talk about it. It's just tools and resources for them to be able to talk about it and support their kids. And then finally, we have clubs. I'm the club coordinator at Erika's Lighthouse. So we have with clubs, we have all sorts of resources for clubs to be able to promote school-wide activities that really help identify resources in the school, identify trusted adults, or sometimes just to promote positivity and promote help seeking, reduce stigma. So it's kind of like student-led. We have a library of student-led activities to kind of support mental health in that way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so what advice would you give to students who are struggling with mental health but aren't sure where to turn to?
Yeah, so I think that one thing that I think they need to seek help. They need to find a trusted adult. And I think that the barrier that they might be placing on themselves is sometimes going to be that they're worried about getting to the right person, the person that can solve the problem. But just any good, responsible, trusted adult will be that person. So for example, if you really trust your math teacher, and you're comfortable talking to them in general, maybe because they're your math teacher and they host the after school club that you're in, and you have a good rapport with them, right? It's okay to go to that person. You might be thinking, they're not a counselor, they're not a psychologist, they're not going to be able to help me directly. That's okay. They're still a responsible adult. And when you talk to them, they're going to help introduce you to the right resources, and they're going to help bring you to the correct next steps, assuming that they are a good trusted adult, right? If they've gone through our staff training, they'll know to do that. I know that when I was a teacher before I worked for Erika's Lighthouse, I had a little girl come and tell me something very concerning. And my answer to her was like, thank you so much for telling me. I think the counselor will be able to help you better than I can. Can I please introduce you to her? And that girl was never going to talk to the counselor because she didn't know the counselor. She'd never really talked to her before, but she knew me. So just find any trusted adult, and they should be able to get you to the correct next steps if they're a good, responsible, trusted adult, right? Just identify someone who's good and responsible and you trust.
How does Erika's Lighthouse work to reduce stigma around mental health issues, especially among teens?
Yeah, so we do a lot for that. That's like one of our main goals. So our clubs, we have so many different activities that are about reducing stigma and promoting help seeking. One of the big things is just promoting that we have the conversations, right? Just start having the conversations about it, normalize it. Don't make it something that's not okay to talk about. One of the initiatives that I've taken on this year is starting a youth advisory board. So it's a group of students in the clubs across the country who help talk to me and help us create new programming about how to do that. Because the teens know the teens better than I know the teens, so they can help us do that. But our classroom programming is strongly focused on identifying trusted adults and seeking help. So that's step one in reducing the stigma, is just being able to talk to those trusted adults. But then there's the other side where it's just making talking about mental health as normal as talking about like your dental health or something.
What are some positive outcomes you've seen when schools or communities fully embrace mental health awareness?
Yeah, so some positive outcomes that I've seen are that students who undergo our classroom programming, for example, have a much higher rate of being able to identify trusted adults and being able to identify more people as trusted adults. So on the Erika's Lighthouse website, ericaslighthouse.org, if you made an account and you were a teacher running a program, you can have students take the pre-survey and post-survey, and the data is demonstrating to us that the students who have gone through the programming are better able to identify the trusted adults, which means that they're more likely to be able to have someone to seek help with. And that's just, one example of a positive outcome that I think is just hard to deny because I have the data and statistics there. Yeah.
All right, how can students, parents, and schools get involved with Erika's Lighthouse and support its mission?
Yeah, so I think it depends on which group we're talking about. So for students, I would highly encourage them to talk to a teacher or an advisor in their school about starting a mental health club in their school. And Erika's Lighthouse has resources to support mental health clubs, or if you are already in a club, like a service club, and you want to do some service in the school to support mental health, you're also welcome to like affiliate as an Erika's Lighthouse club and use those resources for that same purpose. So for students, I would say like use those club resources we have. For parents, we have those family resources, and they can use that to support the students in their own household and their own life and open up communication with them. But then I would also say if they know about resources like this, they can introduce it to their district or to their principals so that they are more aware of like the options of what's available. And then for the schools, if you are a health teacher, you can use our curriculum to support it. If you are not, you can start a club or you can introduce your admin to all the materials so that they can use it appropriately. And I'm just gonna say like Erika's Lighthouse programming is all free and it will always be free. We're donor funded, so I just recommend like no matter what kind of school you are at, like you can use those resources.
Thank you, Derick, for being our guest today and telling us all about Erika's Lighthouse. Don't forget to like it and subscribe for more great mental health content from the Psychology Club.
Yeah, everybody like and subscribe to the Psychology Club podcast. I love to see you guys join and see the other things that this club does amazingly.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.